Good afternoon.
Hello, hello.
So,
hey, everyone.
Hi.
I was thinking earlier that all my notes are in a paper sketchbook, and I felt like I was from Planet of the Apes, kind of like, do you remember paper? And paper. And now we're all in this very interesting NFT world, which is blowing my mind and making actual life, everyday life, way more exciting than it was before. And I'm new to it. And could you introduce yourselves, please?
All right, my name is Maria Tokareva. I am the artist and creator for Miss FRAIS, the NFT collection. We have a 6,969 NFT collection that we just dropped on October 26th.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole Sales. I am the business director for digital art sales and NFTs at Christie's. I've been at Christie's for about 10 years, predominantly in the contemporary art department in various roles. I've oversaw our online sale division, which included the Beeple Everyday work that we sold in March. And after that, it really became my full-time job. So I have learned a lot in the past 9 months. I'm relatively new to this space. I'm sure all of you have been here for years before me. But it's been really exciting and really, really pumped to see what Christie's is doing going forward in this space.
Hi, everyone. My name is Duncan Cock-Foster. I'm a co-founder of Nifty Gateway. Nifty Gateway is a leading platform for NFTs. We've been primarily focused on digital art. Now we're expanding our scope a little bit, and you can also trade a lot of collectibles projects on Nifty Gateway. We've played a pivotal role in launching a lot of really well-known NFT artists. We were the first people to release NFTs with Beeple. We've done a lot of stuff with POC, and we have a really exciting POC collection that's starting tomorrow, actually. So go check it out on niftygateway.com. And yeah, I'm happy to be here. Excited for this panel.
I got to say, I'm in a little bit in awe of meeting you, Duncan, because it's kind of like meeting the co-owner of Google, or because you're going to probably be earning the same amount of money from Google at some point.
If I do, I'll buy you a drink. So.
Thank you.
I want to drink too.
Me too. I'll be there.
But seriously, how do you? I'll talk about myself in a minute, and probably won't stop. But do you have aspirations, ambitions? Can you see that in reality happening, like Nifty Gateway becoming to the point where you don't want to talk to anyone anymore, and you lock yourself away and grow your hair long?
Yeah, I mean. I actually started in NFTs back in 2018, and it's been a really weird experience because back then when I would go to dinner parties and tell people what I did. I would tell them, I sell digital images where anyone can download them, but people pay lots of money, and they would just look at me like I was crazy. And even since then, the amount of recognition and like people who have gotten into NFTs has just completely like surpassed my expectations and kind of blown my mind a little bit. Where now almost everyone I talk to, even if they don't really understand NFTs, they're at least curious and they've at least heard of like NFTs and know what they are. So I really think that'll continue. I think NFTs are an amazing creative medium that's like at the early days of being explored, and we're going to see some really exciting stuff happen. And then NFTs are still much smaller than the physical art world. There's still not nearly as many collectors and not nearly as much money spent, despite the fact that I think it's much easier for people to collect NFTs than it is for them to collect physical art. So yeah, I think NFTs are just going to continue growing at the fast pace that they have been.
Yeah, so I missed out talking about myself, just so you know why I'm here and deserve to be hosting a panel. So 2001, I came to New York to design and paint the cover for GTA 3. And I didn't know that Grand Theft Auto was going to be as big as it is. And that's been really amazing seeing how big it's become, which in itself is I see it as like they created the metaverse maybe way before anyone else. Back in 2001, they created the three-dimensional adult video game that you can walk around, and I'm looking forward to buying property in all the games. But so I did that, and I stayed with them for 16 years, doing all the artwork for the Grand Theft Auto with a team of people up until GTA 5. And I left in 2016 to become a fine artist, and that was kind of fun. And then the money started running out, and I kind of hated the dynamic of having to be friends with rich people, and the kind of like the desperation must have really been obvious. Like, I'm talking to you because I really need money, and you know, maybe you're interesting, but basically I need a patron, I need someone to buy my work. So instead of being the senior artist at Rockstar Games, and I was like one-on-one talking to people of influence, suddenly I was the artist looking up at the rich person thinking, please, you know, pay my bills. So then after 2 years of being a fine artist, I thought, this is the most stupid way in the world to make money and want to, you know, expect to be comfortable. So I went back to illustration, started doing illustration, did it really well, and then NFTs came along, and it's kind of like I still think that I might be waking up at some point, because the money that's being exchanged is crazy, and even the word non-fungible token is like, I feel like I'm going to wake up and go, there was this currency, you know, and you could buy non-fungible tokens, and it was like, that's such a stupid name. You know, how did you dream that? But anyway, so I'm doing 3 projects with NFT companies, and very excited to be involved, especially being here this week. It's just incredible what people are establishing. So you have 6,000 NFTs that you're selling?
Yes, we created a collection of 6,969, very sexy, playful, provocative. So Miss Frey, for me, it's a part of myself. And all of these girls with all these different emotions, they represent a point in time of my life when somebody or something made me feel a certain way. And my way of expressing it was through these paintings. So I would have this feeling, and then I would go and I would paint, and that would be my way to transform the energy of whatever that happened into my artwork, and that way bringing beauty into the world. And I also had the same thing, because I've been an artist for 7 years here in Miami. I consider this my home. I came here, I went to Wynwood, and I saw that, like, wow, really, people are living their dream. Artists are here, they're painting on the walls. Nobody's going to jail because they're tagging everywhere in Wynwood. And I was like, you know what? I want to do the same thing. And I started painting in my room every single day. I would do it. And at some point, I had so many paintings that somebody told me, okay, you need to showcase them. You need to start telling people what you're doing. And that's very important for an artist, to go out there and tell people, listen, I'm an artist. This is what I do every single day. So social media, for example, is one of the outlets that I believe has given artists the ability to share what they're doing in a global scale. So it's not like, oh, my family, my friends, the people in my neighborhood that I invite into these art events. Now it's everyone, and the art events can be going on in a metaverse, or there's another app called Cyber that you can build your own kind of NFT gallery and connect your OpenSea account there and just send it to whoever, anywhere in the world. And that ability to reach out to potential collectors and clients and is just incredible. It's the possibility of living your dream and not having to go out there and be like, hey, please buy my art. It's actually the opposite. People are like, oh, let me please buy your artwork, and then they have these bid wars, and that's how the NFTs go into crazy prices.
Yeah, it's amazing. Also, I was listening to a talk on this stage actually earlier, and the guy was saying that 88% of artists in the music world, 88% of the money goes to non-musicians, and that's probably the same in the art world. And it's such a disgrace that artists for for decades have been putting up with them, having to wait 3 months, 6 months to get paid, and the gallery's waiting 3 months to get paid from a guy or a woman who's kind of like, oh no, I just lost loads of money and I can't pay you anymore. And it's kind of like, an artist can't afford to wait 6 months, but with NFTs, you're paid immediately, you're building a community. And I was thinking though, are artists going to be too happy is the work going to suffer because artists are going to be too happy now? Like you don't get the misery of no one knowing you, no one liking your work. You're not miserable because you haven't got any money and you can't get a girlfriend or whatever. It's like, immediately you have a community. If you can work with social media, you have a community and people say, I love you every day, and you get that, they're going to be way too happy. Is the art going to suffer because of that?
I don't think so. I think, I'm sure the artist sitting here can speak more to this, but I would say, a lot of the art that's made is not necessarily drawn from suffering, and just because people have a lot of friends and have a lot of followers also doesn't mean that they're not suffering. So I think that there's, a lot that can still be drawn from.
There's also a lot of competition. Like if you go and you type NFT nowadays, you're gonna have thousands of projects out there. Not all of them are from actual artists that wanna do it, but like you really have to search for that one project that you believe in, their community, their team, which is so important because you wanna know who is the people behind the collection. Are they real people? Are they just a bunch of hackers who are going to pull the rug and that's it, money is gone, project is gone. So I for sure there is it's going to be more and more people in the NFT space as we go. Next year probably is going to double or triple. So but I also believe that each person that, for example, if you're meant to do something in this life, your people will eventually find you. Your community will find you, and they will support you. And every artist have something different and unique, their own gift that they came to bring to this world. So I believe that just by doing more of these talks, informing people, I know there's a lot of live streams going on for people that cannot attend the event, but they're interested and they really want to learn more about how to get in this space.
And yes, very good points. But I feel like it's the first time communism has ever worked in the history of, And it's quite a nice feeling, isn't it? Like everybody sharing and talking about community. When was the last time so many people talked about? Maybe in the 60s with hippies. So Duncan, what's your favorite piece of work on Nifty?
I think it would be really tough for me to pick a favorite. It's like asking, to pick your favorite child. I love them all equally.
Only if you had 2 kids. Did that?
I think I think Pac is an amazing artist. I think part of what's so amazing about them is that they're never afraid to experiment with the medium of NFTs. So they're always doing all this crazy stuff that no one has ever thought of. And every time we work with them, we're kind of like excited, but also dreading it a little bit because we know that we're going to be pushed in new ways, and our system is going to be, we're going to have to do things that we never thought of from a tech perspective, just because that's just the way Pac thinks, and they're such a visionary and like always thinking about what can I do that's never been done before. So yeah, the drop we have with them this week is actually a really interesting example where you buy an NFT called Mana, and then you buy in like a fixed number amount. So I could buy 5 Mana, but then if I buy 3 Mana on the secondary market, the NFTs automatically combine, and I end up with one NFT called 8 Mana. So it's this very unique, like kind of hard to wrap your head around concept that really pushes us to think about the medium of NFTs in a whole new way. I feel like many artists in history are notable because they helped redefine the medium that they work in. And that's one thing about Pac's work that I think is so notable. Just to highlight one. But all the artists on Nifty Gateway are incredible. But we do have a Pac drop coming up, so I think it's worth talking about their work.
Yeah, I was asking you, Nicole, earlier, like, I didn't ask you if you're competitors or rivals with regards to business, but I asked you if how do you judge if an artist is worthy of being with Christie's, because it's such a huge company. Was it 1877 it opened?
Yeah, we're a little over 250 years old now.
Yeah. So for you as established auction house and gallery to take on punks, like making artwork, how do you judge if they're good enough?
Yeah, so I think we kind of have two guiding principles and two concurrent strategies that we've been working with thus far. And I will just preface that it's super early for Christie's to get involved in this, so this all may change in 2022, who knows. But we started, with the Beeple work, which we sold in March, which we had no idea how much that was going to sell for. We were like, oh, maybe $1 million, that'd be crazy. 69, here we go. So then after that, we kind of looked to place quote-unquote historical NFT projects and in the same context as traditional 21st century artists. So we sold the punk alongside Basquiat's and Warhol's, and kind of to tell the traditional art market and traditional art world that this is worth looking at, and should be in the same conversation as Basquiat's, for example. So that was kind of the first step that we took. And then on the same time, we've been, for the first time, more or less in Christie's history, we've been working directly with artists, which has been really amazing. Christie's is traditionally a brokerage house, right? We're a secondary market. We sell works that collectors own to other collectors. It's the galleries normally that are working with the artists. So we worked with, for example, Fuocious. We had a fantastic sale of his in May. So we think of ourselves as amplifying existing voices to a stage that is gigantic and a reach that is incredibly global. So we are sticking to our core value in terms of selling the best of the best, whether that's an ancient Ming vase, whether that's jewelry, wine, a Picasso painting, or now an NFT. So I think we're judging art in the same way that we would, judging NFT art in the same way that we would, traditional art. So it's very subjective, but, we're obviously presenting things to the market that the market wants. So how many collectors are there? What's the price? Price data, what are comparable selling for? What's the community perspective on it?
You're the same, Duncan, aren't you, with Nifty Gateway? You judge the art by... how do you judge it? How do you judge the art?
Yeah, I mean, I would say for us, it's slightly different because we do have a much more of a primary market focus than Christie's or Sotheby's, which are, traditionally secondary market auction houses. And I feel like we really make an effort to stay plugged into the scene to try and figure out which artists are out there, who's doing interesting things. And really one of our goals, I would say, is to shine a spotlight on artists that are up and coming, that haven't really gotten the recognition that we think they could be able to get, and we think that we could really help them out by doing a drop with them. So, some of the stuff that we look at, I'd say we look at traction is definitely very important. Traction can be, traction in other mediums besides digital. It can mean traction on social media. I think there is a subjective element to it where you look at the work and you look at the creativity and you try and figure out, is this artist doing things that haven't been done before that could potentially be really interesting? And then, I think I always like to say that it's an art, not a science. There's not a perfect formula where you can say, these are the people that we want to work with. And it's something that we're constantly improving on all the time. But honestly, we're really proud of the work that we've done elevating artists and helping them find a role. And one of the coolest parts about our job is we get to hear artists who say, I was broke before I did my Nifty Gateway drop, and now I can make a living. And Fuocious is a great example of this, actually. He escaped a pretty gnarly situation and got to buy a house after he did a big Nifty Gateway drop with us. So that was really cool to see. And I think that's my favorite part of the job, and I think that's true of many other people at Nifty Gateway as well, seeing artists' lives transformed like that.
So you recently bought Did You Really Love Me? Is that by Mad Dog Jones?
Yeah, it is I love Mad Dog Jones as well.
But because you bought it, did the value go up immediately? Do you have that influence?
I'm not sure, honestly. I mean, Mad Dog Jones has
a lot of power.
Yeah, I think he was pretty popular before I bought his work, and was pretty popular afterwards. But maybe I helped a little bit.
On the Mad Dog Jones note, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that Christie's is collaborating with OpenSea on a sale that is going live on the website later today, and the auction is December 4th through 7th, and there's a fantastic Mad Dog Jones in the sale, so check it out.
And so Christie's represent him as well, Mad Dog Jones.
I mean, we're selling a work from him, yeah.
Right. So on Nifty, you've got a pinned tweet that says, if I could download the JPEG, why would I buy the NFT?
Oh yeah, well, as I mentioned, I've been in NFTs for a very long time, and honestly, maybe the funniest part is the skeptics still make the exact same arguments that they did 3 years ago. The argument hasn't changed even a little bit, and I'm like, seriously, guys, come on, all this traction, and you're still saying the exact same thing. So I made that tweet thread basically based on my personal journey of like learning why people do in fact buy an NFT when they could just download the image file. You know, when I actually first got into NFTs, I was kind of confused about that as well, until I learned about the way it works in the physical art world and how people really, you know, the practice of buying essentially certificates of authenticity is way older than we thought and has been going on for much longer than we thought. And NFTs are just sort of a new iteration of that and taking that behavior more mainstream. So yeah, I kind of wrote that thread to help educate people. And maybe, yeah, I was a little bit annoyed because listening to NFT skeptics, they just say the same things over and over again. I'm like, they never learn. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. It's a question that you have to be prepared for at parties, along with, I don't understand NFTs. What is it? And then I'm like, oh, God. Now I have to explain. And I don't even fully understand it myself, but I'm getting there, especially after this week. But like my 12-year-old son sent me a email yesterday with a Bored Ape, and he's like, Dad, I've been stealing NFTs. And I'm like thinking, am I going to have to give him a lecture now on thievery? Did he actually go online and steal one, which of course is kind of impossible? Or did he download the JPEG and think that he has an NFT? Well, if he has stolen it, he's richer than I am.
But here's the thing. When you own an NFT, you can sell it and you can make money out of it. When you right-click save it, you have it, but you cannot make money out of it. And that's the whole difference. That's why people buy them. Because there is a market, let's say there's not, they want that particular one, and they will fight for it. And that's the big difference. Yeah, you can save it, you can have it, but you're not going to own it, and you won't be able to sell it.
Yeah. And you don't have bragging rights.
Exactly.
This is what amuses me about the whole. It seems that the only sense I can make of it is that you have bragging rights, that you own a CryptoPunk, and you're superior to your friend who doesn't have a CryptoPunk. And it's such an essential part of human nature, I find now. That it's always been like that. When I was a kid, you know, we'd buy one album a month, and we'd have to learn to love it. And it might be really hard to buy that album. You might have to go to London to buy it. So, but now it thinks you don't have that. So NFTs create that stuff where you're kind of like, I gotta own something rare and brag about it, which is weird. We're gonna wrap up in a minute, but I'd just like to say I am now with a gallery, Artcryption, who bought a gallery yesterday for, I don't know, $30,000 on DeCentral. And so now I have a gallery after giving up on art.
Ooh, congratulations. Yes.
So how was it for you, this experience? Has this
Great.
week taught you anything you didn't know?
I learned that you have a gallery in Decentraland.
Yeah, that's the most important thing.
I loved it. Let's do more of this. This is amazing. I love sharing information. This is my actually first time speaking in a stage. I feel really comfortable, very grateful. Thank you.
Duncan, did you learn anything extra?
I mean, I learned something new I also learned you have a gallery, you know. But I thought it was a great panel. I actually did one yesterday at Nifty Basel, and it was so short. We basically just like introduced ourselves and like, you know, said what we were doing at the company. But this was like a pretty substantive conversation, so I feel like that's great.
Great. I'm glad I survived because I was very nervous. Anyway, thanks very much, everyone.
Thank you.